Thank you, Professor Sirek. Now, we have our next speaker, Dr. Stanislav Labjak from the Slovak National Memory Institute. He has been working there for the past decade, first as an analyst at the Information Technology Department, and now in the Department of Education Projects. And he will talk about the transition process and also about the current problems. Thank you very much. Please.
Thank you. How is back? Yes, yes. First of all, I greet you from Slovakia, from Chief of Nations Memory Institute, Ondrej Krajňák. Nations Memory Institute, as we know, is a partner of this conference in cooperation with NRS. I am here as last moment. It was decided a few days ago, and because of it, I read some information from Letizia Golec from Humboldt University, Berlin. Her presentation was published in London, and I received her permission to use something from her presentation. At the end of my presentation, I present two tables on a computer. It would be better. Now, unlawful action on behalf of the state against its citizens can neither be protected by secrecy and not be forgotten. This quotation, taken from an information leaflet issued by the Nations Memory Institute of Slovakia, expressed the need of critical re-evaluation of the communist past for all former communist countries. This re-evaluation seems urgent for two reasons. On the one hand, communism as a lived experience was perceived to be a form of dictatorship after the collapse of the communist states in Eastern Europe, and now has to be treated accordingly. On the other hand, the past as a part of a social identity must not sink into oblivion. Germany was the first state to start to deal critically with its communist past by establishing a federal commissioner of the former GDR in 1991. By doing so, Germany set an example for other former communist countries, which subsequently also established national memory institutes. However, the circumstances for critical reassessment of the communist past have been more convenient for Germany than for other former Eastern Bloc countries. After German reunification, the legal system of the former Federal Republic of Germany came into force in the new Länder. The legislation thus provided a legal basis for the prosecution of political offenders, as well as for rehabilitation and compensation of those previously persecuted. On the contrary, other former communist countries first had to create a new legal system. Regarding Slovakia, I intend to answer the following questions. In which historical circumstances was the Nations Memory Institute established? Which problems did and does it face? How does its work look like at present? First, historical circumstances. To start with, Slovakia has been and continue to be in a special position in coming to terms with its dictator past. This process started at the time when Slovakia was still part of the federation with the Czech Republic. In Federal Republic, it was law of rehabilitation acts according laws from 1968. In the same later 1990 were passed 3 laws, and especially law 111, rehabilitation by court, included all cases concerning individual sentences for acting in relation to the General Declaration of Human Rights, according from Helsinki. According law 303 and 87, rehabilitation of individuals sentenced out of court, people who were not sentenced by law but personal resentment, especially those who were dismissed from work, such as television studios or pedagogical institutions, schools, etc. In former Czechoslovakia, the reassessment of communism was based on 4 steps: restitution, rehabilitation, lustration, and inspection of state security documents. The purpose of the lustration law from 1991 was to prevent former high officials of the communist regime from getting into public office. Those wanting to get into public office had to submit a clean bill of health, we can say. In other words, people had to prove they had not been members of or collaborated with the state security. Situation in Slovakia, contemporary work and problems. After the split of Czechoslovakia into the Czech Republic and Slovakia in 1993, the situation in Republic of Slovakia took a different course of development that in the Czech Republic. Slovakia has started to slow down the activities concerning the critical reassessment of East's Communist part. In Slovakia, no person went through the clean bill procedure until now. There is no institution to observe the enforcement of this law. The state security archives were not public opened until 2003. Previously, they had not been accessible by investigators, historians, formerly persecuted individuals, or government bodies. Furthermore, the law about the immorality and illegality of the communist system, law from 1996, was not enacted either. The most probable reason for the attempt marginalize and avoid dealing with this past in a profound manner in the state security collaborators in Slovakia managed to get into key position before materials were published. But at the end of 1999, Minister of Justice Jan Czarnogórski established a department for the documentation of the crimes of communism at his ministry and provided to deal with the problems. In year 2002, the Slovak Parliament passed the law on the Institute of National Memory or National Memory Institute, Slovakia, or we can say better, Nations Memory Institute. The institute was founded 2003 and as an institute under public law. Institute tasks comprise according law in different tasks. However, during the first 3 years of this existence from 2003, the Institute received many requests from private persons concerning the examination of material. We see later in the table. Unfortunately, the work in the National Memory Institute archive is extremely unsatisfying. A great part of the data files have not been yet processed or identified. Moreover, the archive is understaffed. The disorder of the material slows down a consequent and swift processing. Finally, we look at the preliminary work status of the National Memory Institute. Compensation of the formal persecution is inadequately and late. Restitution of property. This was also carried out inadequately. Punishing offenders. The number of punished offenders was in fact small. Some former torturers escaped punishment and even received retirement pensions. The political authority in Slovakia did not bear in mind that the clear majority of people previously persecuted had little or no money and experience in the field of law. As far as the law did not exactly order to act, the justice and state institution had been acting very slow. At conclusion, we can say that the most obvious problem in the Institute faces today in public disinterest in clarification of communist crimes in Slovakia. The National Memory Institute of Slovakia was founded very late, 13 years after Velvet Revolution. One can say that the Institute is forced to cut back its business activities as present, on the one hand because of the low budget and because of the lack of employees. On the other hand, there is no need for a better and more organized from a cooperation among the countries in which respective institutions exist for exchange programmers for employees who need materials from different countries which carry an inadequate institution. In the table I presented is comparison with Czech Republic, but some words on the end. We can say that after from beginning of National Memory Institute, we have a project oral history as witnesses of the operation period or lived memory. We keep files more than 2,500 entries. We have 400 witnesses interview in total length of more than 800 hours of individual recording. And then today, National Memory Institute produced 15 films to be broadcasted. Until today, we have defined 3 basic categories, including different subcategories. For example, Slovakia in the years 1933, transition period, is communist totality later. Thank you, and I present something on computer.
Can I suggest to present it after all the presenters had the chance to speak, and then afterwards? Thank you very much.